Welcome to the Times Are Changing podcast. My name is Chase. I am joined here with Zach. We are the COO and CEO of Golden Aspect. This is a podcast about cutting-edge strategies in digital and social media marketing.
In today's episode, we explain the value of having a consistent brand identity on social media, including some specific guidelines for any brand to follow. Without any further ado, let's jump right in.
So with the amount of active social media accounts these days probably hovering somewhere in the billions, standing out as a brand account especially can be really difficult. And so for this reason, it's extremely important that you have both a specific and a unique brand identity for your business because it's so critical in building a loyal following on social media. And as far as this brand identity goes, it's important that you have a consistent look, a consistent feel, sound, and overall image to ensure that everyone that's following you stays connected to your brand, recognizes your brand, and you're able to build that loyal following on social media. Despite all of the crowding and all of the oversaturation that might exist, brand identity is a critical component to overcoming this and helping your brand stand out on social.
So what really is brand identity on a base level? So like Chase said, brand identity refers to how your brand looks, sounds, and feels to the average person who might look at it, specifically on social media. So with that in mind, why is brand identity important at all? So think about a typical person, the average person's Instagram feed, right? They might have some posts from, birthday party. Maybe they went out on a boat one day, and so there's a picture of a boat. If you look at their feed, it's probably going to be generally all over the place in terms of how it looks, with the only consistency most likely being that that person is in all of those images in some capacity. Obviously, when someone is scrolling through their feed, if they see that person in a post, chances are they're going to think, oh, it's that person's post. I know that person. That's great. I've connected that person with their account because that is the only consistency throughout any of their posts. It's that person. Well, when it comes to a business, you got a lot of other stuff going on in your business, and attention spans on social media are at an all-time low. So the idea behind having a quantified brand identity is associating your brand with specific qualifiers on social media, whether it's specific phrases or color schemes, associating these specific positive triggers with your brand so that when somebody is scrolling through their feed and they're only spending, 0.7 seconds on each post before scrolling on, if they see one of those triggers that over time has been associated with your brand, it is going to remind them that your brand exists, and it is going to occupy a space in their mind, and that is the whole point of having a continuous and an identifiable brand identity. It is having people be able to easily recognize your brand at a glance, and then having your brand occupy some sort of mental space in their subconscious.
The better you're able to condition your potential customers to associate your given product with your business, the more success you're going to see. And you're going to see this most classically with the Pavlov experiments focused on classical conditioning. It's a very simple process, but basically it's a way to condition your audience, your potential customers, to associate different positive triggers associated with your products or even a color combination or your logo or a tagline or something, to associate that immediately with your brand, and to continue creating that connection as many times as possible, and specifically these days, doing so through social media. And so the more often you're able to do this, the better success you're going to see in terms of customer loyalty, people coming back to your brand for your specific product, because that's what they think of when they want whatever product or service it is that you're offering.
Whether your company has a revolutionary product or donates, 90% of its products to charity, it's important that your followers and potential customers automatically associate these positive perks with your brand. So sit down and think about, what message do you want to send as a business? A good place to start is to consider your competition. Look at the other people that are competing for market share with your business, and look at what they're doing. Think about the way that they're branding their businesses, the key selling points that they're promoting, and then think about how you can look to differentiate yourself from those competitors. And it can start on a very, very basic level. Think about your logo in the primary colors that you use. Is it going to be differentiated from those competitors? Can you make it unique to your business? Can you make it reflective of something else that is unique to your business that people would like to get behind? Think of your editing style with your videos and your end screens. Think of your taglines, your tones, and your phraseology. Your brand identity at its base should be reflective of what your ideal customer demographic would resonate with and what makes your business unique. So for example, if your target customer demographic for your business is a 15-year-old kid, chances are you're going to want to take a more casual tone for your brand in terms of your copy and your captions and your ads, and it would be more appropriate for that specific situation, because that is a brand identity that a younger person would be able to relate to more, say contrast to a Mercedes car dealership, right, where they're going to have sort of much more professional standards in terms of language than something targeted at a 15-year-old might have. So think about your colors, think about your phrasing, think about your word choice, your types of content, photos, videos, slideshows, boomerangs, and just combine that with whatever your biggest selling points are. Push those to the front of your brand. In order to succeed, your brand identity should focus around a singular, compelling offer aimed towards a focused demographic. Meaning, hey, I've got this revolutionary product. It solves this problem for these people. Everything I do online, in social media, on my website, in my posts, should be reflective of that product, that idea, and the problem that it can solve. And by taking a glance at any of my posts or anything that is related to my business, you should be able to identify, that is the product, this is what it does, and these are the people that are going to be able to relate to it.
One thing I really want to hit on here is the importance of truly taking some time to think all of this out. The number one thing you should never do when crafting or shifting your brand identity is to do it in just one session, to sit down, hash it out, and call it good. This is a surefire way to make something subpar. A really good brand identity is extremely simple, but the process to create it is far more complex than it appears on the surface. A really good brand identity looks as if someone thought it up in a second. It's very clear, to the point. Think about something like Uber. However, the amount of strategy and thought that went into the planning for that brand identity is far greater than just one meeting. And so when you're creating a brand identity, it's really important to bring in lots of different key people that might have input for this, and to really think about, okay, what is the best way we can make a brand identity that's simple but still very well thought out? Because if you just sort of sit down and think through this in one casual meeting, you might come up with something decent, but it's not going to be as good as it could be. And so it's important to take brand identity just as seriously as you take every other part of your business. Otherwise, you're going to end up with something subpar. And for something as critical as brand identity, you don't want to have something subpar.
This episode of the Times Are Changing podcast is brought to you by our business, Golden Aspect. We're a digital media and marketing company that gives you one contact for everything social media. From brand strategy to content creation, we've got you covered.
We emphasize high-touch, strong client relationships, and fully integrated marketing approaches. Each of our marketers are proficient in every service we offer and are reachable 7 days a week by text or call. This reliable communication and interaction with your business ensures your contact will be equipped to handle anything you need, anytime you need it.
Once you've started to narrow in on what your brand identity actually should look like, the next step is to stay consistent. All right, the Pavlovian conditioning of your customers is only going to work if your brand identity is pushed consistently over time and across all platforms and sales channels. Okay, it's super, super important that when people see anything related to your brand, whether it's an Instagram post or a billboard, they should be able to recognize key aspects of your brand identity, whether it's a tagline, whether it's colors, whether it's a specific product or a way of framing things. They should be able to recognize some key aspect of your brand identity, and then they should have no problem connecting whatever that piece of content was that they saw to your business.
Whatever your marketing strategy is for your brand identity, it should be consistent. And this goes as far as considering every piece of content or everything that's involved in your brand. First, consider the photos and videos that you're posting on social media and on your website. Do they fit that new brand identity? Do they need to be revamped? Also consider any influencers or public figures that are involved in your brand. Are they still reflective of this brand identity that you're currently trying to convey? Additionally, take a look at your website as a whole. Is it been updated to reflect this brand identity? And also, even more importantly, is it consistent with your social media, with all of your other accounts, even any physical locations if you have those? The last thing that you want is for all of your different channels, your website, social media, any other pages you have online, you don't want all of those to look like different businesses. When you update your brand identity, it needs to permeate throughout all of your accounts, and you need to really spend the time to go through and update everything and make sure that it's all on brand with the new brand identity.
The point of having an actually quantified brand identity is to provide a structure for your business to operate within in terms of marketing moving forward. Now, I can't tell you how many businesses I've worked with or we've been hired to work with, clients of ours, where you ask them like, okay, what is your brand identity? Like, what is the message that you guys are trying to push here? And we can't get back a consistent or a compelling answer. This is an issue that runs deep in a lot of different businesses, simply because it's an issue that just gets overlooked really easily from the management perspective of a business. But all too often you see social media posts that seem like they have nothing to do with each other, different styles of writing captions that look like they were written by completely different people, just not being able to even come up with a consistent 3 key selling points for your business. This is all stuff that is really going to negatively impact your brand awareness and your ability to build a following around your brand. So please think about this in terms of ways of setting up a structure moving forward so that you can ensure that every single action that you take fits into this structure. If you think, oh, okay, I want to work with this influencer, well, now you have something to cross-check it against. Does that influencer fit this brand identity? If my target customer is 15 years old, will this influencer relate to that customer? If not, they don't fit the brand identity and we're not going to work with them. We have a framework to cross-check every single one of our decisions moving forward now that we have this quantified brand identity.
When you're taking a look at your current brand identity or looking to make some important changes, don't be afraid to reach out for outside help. One of the big things that we see often is that if you're inside an organization, it can be tricky to really perceive accurately what other people see from the outside. And so having somebody, a consultant, having somebody come in to help you and give some outside perspective as to how your brand currently looks and how some of your new ideas might be perceived is a really, really valuable thing. If you get too many people involved in your business to hash together this new brand identity, chances are you're going to be leaving out and you're going to be missing some holes that you might have been able to fix if you had someone else give you some advice. Don't rely on your own intuition when it comes to branding, because quite simply, you're just too biased to give yourself the best advice possible. So if you have somebody else that you know or somebody else that you could hire to bring in and help see your brand in a different light, chances are they're going to give you some really valuable input and strategy that will help your brand identity moving forward and probably make it a lot better than it could have been otherwise.
Just in case you're not convinced that having a quantified brand identity is a critical part to building any sort of brand, what company do you think of when I say electric cars? Probably Tesla. What company do you think of when I say just do it? Probably Nike. These are perfect examples of quantified brand identities that have been able to spread immense amounts of brand awareness. So if this is something that you want to get into more, you want to work in your brand identity, you want to quantify it, you want to set up that structure, and you're not exactly sure what to go, or you might need some of that outside help, please feel free to reach out to us at Golden Aspect. This is what we do. This is what we specialize in. We've worked with dozens of brands and numerous different industries, and this is something that we can definitely help you with. So please feel free to reach out if you need any help quantifying your brand identity. And that's about where we're going to wrap things up for today. Make sure you follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. We upload weekly episodes every Tuesday. If you're interested in reading our newsletter, please visit our website at goldenaspect.com/timesarechangeing. Once again, that is goldenaspect.com/timesarechangeing. Thank you all so much for listening to this edition of the Times Are Changing podcast, and we will see you all next week. If you enjoyed listening to this week's podcast, please check us out on social media, Instagram at Golden Aspect Media. If you want to learn more about what our company can do for your business, please check out our website at goldenaspect.com. We offer everything from brand strategy to digital ad campaigns to boots on the ground content production.
If you made it this far and you're looking for some help, just send us a message or give us a call. We're ready to help.